the word entrepreneur is an interesting word in itself. It really means, not that I can speak French, but really means preneur is the first, and entree is the first to enter a new area, and that does involve some risk.
Yep.
So I think rather than take all of that risk in one bite, it's better to run an incremental pathway that says, here I am today, this is where I want to get to, and these are some steps along the way. And it's surprising that if you don't fall off the path will take you there.
Hi, I'm Jerem.
And I'm Barry.
We're from NovoFit, and this is the Mate Spot Me podcast. In this podcast, we're going to speak to experienced and upcoming fitness industry leaders with the goal to give you 2 to 3 gems that you can take away and insert into your business.
Today on Mate Spot Me, we're joined by Geoff Lord, Chairman, CEO and founder of the Belgravia Group. He's a visionary leader and a recent Beyond Activ Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Geoff's career has shaped Australian businesses and sport for decades, and his entrepreneurial spark is still as sharp as ever. We dive into his leadership DNA, his mindset, and his mission to positively impact 1 million kids. Let's get into it.
We have a system of giving management in silos running their own business units, so that they're part of the total Belgravia Group, but they're committed to running their own business unit.
Yep.
So you guys run the equipment business, Novo, NovoFit, and then Novo Activ, and etc. But that's just a management style. In some ways, leads to some inefficiencies. So we don't have one marketing department or one HR department or whatever. So we duplicate quite a bit of the cost. But on the other hand, it has increased accountability. So you live and breathe your own business unit, which is NovoFit, and you're judged on the performance of NovoFit. And in a sense, we only add up each of the individual silos to get an aggregated business. Head offices don't make you any money. We've got a 5-man head office.
Yep.
And we all think that's 4 too many. The only problem with that is we can't work out which one of us should be the one to stay. But
surely that's you, Geoff.
But in a $1 billion company, that's a pretty small head office. But that's because head offices really don't do anything.
Yeah.
Interesting parallel. I think of it, the company this way a bit. That in the, I don't have any subject expertise.
Yep.
You have it in your particular business, so fitness industry, you have the expertise. So on in each business unit, but I don't have any particular expertise.
Yep.
So I sometimes think of it as like a leader of an orchestra,
Yeah.
where the leader, the conductor, won't be able to play percussion instruments or string instruments or wind instruments as well as the people that play them.
Yep.
But the role is to try to coordinate it to get an overall impact or an overall sound that works. And that's partly my role, I suppose, in running a company. I like running companies. I like building businesses. Somebody gave me a pen the other day. I don't know who it was, one of the business units, and it had on it, Geoff Lord, a builder. And I think that's the greatest compliment I could get, that is actually to build something, is something that I really enjoy. And then as you build an organisation, all it's doing is giving more opportunities for people inside the company to grow. And that's very important. I think no business ever stands still, You're either going forward or you go backwards.
Yep.
And I think we're definitely going forward. We're growing very quickly.
Well, Geoff, welcome to the Mate Spot Me podcast. This has been one we've been looking forward to for a long time.
Yeah, you mean that whole speech I just gave isn't recorded?
No, we're recording.
We'll use it.
We'll use that. That's the best part. I mean, you're talking a lot about visionary there and about bringing all these different silos together in the one direction.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't think I've ever met a person so driven about a vision before. Where does that energy come from? What drives that?
Well, I've used the example, but at my age, I'm not a young man. I might even be older than you, Barry.
Just.
But I'm yesterday's era. And my generation stuffed up a few things, I reckon, including drugs and allowing drugs to be such an important factor in the world. And we went too easy on it, so we allowed that to happen. I think areas like social media I'd question a lot too, and again, at my generation allowed social media to happen. Social media has good things as well as bad things, but there are some bad aspects, particularly in kids. So because of that, I felt the responsibility of a person like me at my age is to actually put something back into the economy which is for good purposes. So we want to do good things in this company. We don't sell sex, drugs and rock and roll. We want to actually do good value things. And, we're involved in the ambulance and secondary triage. We're involved in a lot of activities for kids. We're doing that with the purpose of making kids more active, balancing a little bit of the screen time, because my view, if kids are physically active, they'll be in a better mental place to cope with life. In my age, in my youth, I am still in the full vigour of youth, by the way, but in my youth, we'd roll sideways down hills or something, or climb trees, or play brandy in the quadrangle where you'd get a wet ball, tennis ball, and you'd brand people by hurling the tennis ball at them. Kids can't do any of those things now. They're all banned. You're not allowed to roll down a hill or get into trouble for climbing a tree. And balls are definitely banned in the quadrangles. So then we've got to try to get some outlets. So going back to your point, the first motive in setting up a new business, I had worked in corporate businesses, but the first motive in setting up a business was to do some good. And I think kids are the way we could try, my generation, can try to invest and create a better world by helping kids do things. That's one reason. So we wanted to do something good. The second is that I've got an ego, and it's a personal ego. And my ego has been to get to 1 million kids a year to make a difference. And that's very important as well. Why 1 million? Why not? You could have been 10 million, but it probably won't achieve that before I go. So, but it could have been 100,000, but I think we wanted to think a bit bigger. So we've taken a program of trying to create more and more activities, different activities, that kids can participate in. So that could be health clubs where you're at the focal point. That could be learn to swim, and we've got 150,000 kids in learn to swim now. That could be outdoor education, and we're now doing 30,000 kids a year where they go to the bush for a week and learn to kayak, learn to abseil, learn to do caving, cook a damper, and boil billies. And some of those Australian traditions are disappearing. I don't want to see us become a mini America. I want Australian traditions to keep going. So that's what we're trying to do. So we're moving into more and more activities. And then because of this multi-bite of the apple approach, we're then saying if we're in activities, how do we provide services for those activities? And you provide equipment. We're also in technology. We have 40 software developers who are sitting there creating products like Fitness Passport. We played a role in that because we developed a product before Fitness Passport called CareTrack. CareTrack was bought by Fitness Passport, so we became a shareholder in it, and that's been a very successful exercise. And our own clubs are all providers of services to Fitness Passport. And then we thought, well, why not clothing? Because everybody's wearing clothing in these activities. And I'm very pleased to say from scratch, we've now got our clothing business up to about 120 million a year. And I think we've set our goal to 200 million. And that would be quite a significant achievement. So good or bad, I am a pusher. I want to keep setting targets, and as you clear a certain height in a high jump, all we do is put the bar up higher, so you have to work harder again. But that's the way that companies can keep progressing. So go back to your original question, why do it? Well, it was about putting something back into the next generation, but also an ego drive to fulfil something. I used to love the YMCA model when I was a kid. They had really good values. They've lost their way a bit, in my opinion, now, because they've been around too long. But I think those values are important, and that's what I'd love Belgravia to be recognised in the future after I'm gone, for having created and set some good values and achieved something with kids. Long answer, wasn't it?
No, but it's a beautiful balance, I think, where you've got, the ego and the drive is required to get stuff done, but then a just cause of trying to impact kids and the next generation, I think, is a super powerful thing.
Most people would say that know me say I'm an exceptionally hard worker. I'm not putting tickets on myself, but I work 5 days a week and quite often over the weekends, but generally work from about 8 o'clock to about 6 o'clock, and don't even get up, say, from my desk at lunchtime. But that's all driven by the fact that I'm enjoying it so much. Mm-hmm. If work wasn't my job, it'd be my hobby. And that's good and bad. It shows a weakness that I haven't developed hobbies other than a little drinking and a little woman chasing. Well, at my age, I can't catch any women, so I can catch a drink.
I got one for you. So all of those things require identifying opportunities and then growing them. It's like what you're talking about, there's so many silos and there's so much going on. How do you identify an opportunity that is worth seeing out? Is that instinct? Do you recognise a pattern, or is it something else?
I think it is instinct. I love mergers and acquisitions. I love doing deals. But all the deals are in that central theme of creating activities for kids, providing the services to those businesses, and then seeing if we can grow it to be a dominant player in each of those silos. Now, right today, NovoFit, you could probably argue in broad terms, is about on an equal footing, in equal second place with
our competitors.
Yeah, competitors, we can name them. But a long way behind Life. So clearly in the short term, I want you to be the dominant supplier, number 2 supplier in the industry, not an equal number 2. And then ultimately we'll then set our sights on Life. Life's great strength has been their ability to finance customers, and we need to improve that side of our business. But you can see it with you all the time. We have a monthly meeting in NovoFit, and generally I'm talking about the challenge of trying to build something. And you've built this business from difficult times when we were fitness generation under questionable management.
Previous leadership.
Into a force where we're now, if I take Novo Fit and Novo Activ and Refined Wellness, where we're now doing about 50 million a year. So why aren't you doing 100?
There's one for you,
Great
Barry.
question. I'm running the podcast here, so we'll post that one later. That's a good question. I think what comes with that too, and what I love about our group is it's not just about the profit and the money. It's about what we do with that is we have bigger impact. It's like the bigger we become, the bigger impact we have. So
I also think the improvement in your business has come about with the stability of the team. So we recruited people from outside that have come here, like you and Daniel. I don't know, where did you come from?
I came from the YMCA.
YMCA, okay. As a user, though, there'd be more in that role as a user of product.
Yeah.
But I think the stability is very important. If you play sport, and I know most of you have played sport, the team, I think, flourishes when it's been together for a few years. You look at AFL clubs, and that stability is a very important factor in being a good side on the field. And I think you've developed stability as a group, and it's a good spirit among the group, and it's good age among the group. You look around and the average age is maybe 45, excluding some of the people in the warehouse maybe. But it's good age, and you've now worked together for 3 to 5 years, most of you, and it creates a stability. I think we have improved, which was a problem for us, but have improved our after-sales performance significantly. We had a poor reputation in servicing clients, and so now that's improved. I think the product range has improved. So we've picked up additional product range, including new suppliers like Shoei or whoever. But there's room for us to grow and to build from where we are. Now, that's a challenge that I put to every silo about growing and building their business into being more relevant. And again, I repeat that the subject expertise is with the people running the silos, not with somebody like me. I wouldn't know. So you provide that expertise. I can provide the drive and the challenge and the growth. So that's what we're trying to do. And I'm pleased to say now, in the middle of summer, our workforce varies from seasonally, but in the middle of summer we're now pushing 16,000 employees. And again, the obvious question is, why haven't I built it to 30,000? Well, you bet your sweet Bippy that I'm going to have a crack at it.
I've got one for you. So you've made some bold entrepreneurial moves, and what's the biggest instinct call you ever made?
Instinct.
Besides doubling our revenue budget just on a podcast.
No. I think it was to move into areas that we haven't been in, like dance or cheer, and saying that, nobody's gone in there and tried to organise those activities. But if I really sat there and worked it out, dance is probably a 400 billion a year industry with nobody organising it. So, it's a great opportunity. So I think to look around for new activities that we can move into, and then getting people who are experienced in dance or in cheer or in outdoor education is something that really excites me, and I like to get involved in. I like that M&A side of it. Yesterday we talked to a group who are doing overseas tours for adventurers around Australia, Australian group, and we'll take half that business and move into that area. So to send kids who want to go and do it, or school leavers, what do you call
graduators?
Yeah.
Schoolies, overseas on interesting treks, or trying to get them to go down the bottom of the Grand Canyon in Colorado or somewhere. to do, and then kayak, to start doing exciting and interesting things. It makes it interesting to work in those sectors, and I think there are rewards there if we do it well. So when we go into a new sector, we definitely have three criteria. One is, can we dominate that sector? Two is it profitable if we do dominate it? And three is, does it open the door for our businesses that supply goods and services? So every time we're doing a new activity, I want Novo to participate in being able to supply things. So and a good example of that is Jimbaroo. Jimbaroo, we're growing at the rate at the moment of 3 per month. We're now about 75 units, and I think we'll be 100 by June 26, which means building 25 in the next 8 months. But every time we open a new Jimbaroo, which really is for kids between the ages of about 6 months and 30 months, learning motor skills, as we open new centres, you're getting the benefit of being able to supply the equipment. The kids are too young to wear uniforms, but we'll get them somewhere eventually, and we can dominate that space. So that's something that we need to do. I'm also very conscious of migrants coming to Australia and not being involved in activities, especially not having a chance to participate in activities that are more common to their homeland. And we're going to change that too. And I'll give you an example. I'm going to start a number of our LGA areas have very high Indian influence. And we've decided to I haven't announced it yet, but to create a hockey team to go into the Hockey League, the Australian Hockey League, and we're going to call it the Cobras because of the Indian snakes.
That might be the first exclusive we've had on the podcast. So,
yeah, it is. It is an exclusive, but it's well down the track. Yep. We'll put it into Mitchellshire, which is north of Melbourne, and quite a large shire. And Mitchellshire are going to give us 10 hectares to build pitches. So we'll build hockey pitches and cricket pitches. But more than that, having got involved with... we'll play in the Australian number one league, the main league, with a team called the Cobras. And what we're going to do is bring down Indian players as guests to play in the season on a seasonal basis and then return home. And because of that, we're going to try to televise the games and ship them back, the televised rights, back into India. So almost the reverse of an IPL type situation. Yeah. And that's a good thing to do, and it would bridge our relationships with the Indian community. But we want to go further than that, trying to crack the Indian community. We have registered a movement called Australian Kabaddi. Kabaddi, I don't know whether anyone knows the sport, but it's probably number 2 sport in India. Cricket's number 1, and then maybe hockey and Kabaddi are probably equal number 2. But we can create that, and I've actually had somebody in India getting the rights to the Australian competition for it, and then we'll start playing that through the Indian community. But if you think about it a bit further, that will lead to sort of putting health clubs in there for training and physical stuff. And I think that then leaves, given that we're doing dance, to areas like Bollywood. And why not start doing that type of dance activity? I don't give a stuff what sort of dance it is, as long as people are being active. So why not let them have their own activity, and we can build on that. And then that also creates a relationship with that local government area, Mitchell, and Mitchell happened to be building a $300 million leisure resort area at Kilmore. So, put one and one together. We're trying to impress Mitchell to get some advantages as they create more activities. And I find all of that fascinating, mentally fascinating.
Is that what stimulates it, the excitement? Like, how do you...
I tell you, there's something else that really turns me on, and that's going into a centre, one of our centres anywhere, it could be anywhere, and to see the smile on the faces of the staff. I mean, a lot of staff teams don't smile because they don't even enjoy being where they are. But to see the smiles, I recently was in Bendigo. We got a place in Kangaroo Ground, I think, isn't it?
Yep.
And it's quite a big facility. And I walked in unannounced, but they all came over, and I think that was fantastic. And then if the kids are there and getting benefits, then they smile too, and it's great. And I get a kick out of that. I get a kick out of trying to make a contribution. Now, that is, you can say again, that's consistent with my ego. I have got an ego, and that's what drives me to try, partly drives me, the do-good bit and the ego are the two things that drive.
I know you've mentioned that a few times, the ego, but my experience of you is definitely very humble about what you do. And we're going to talk a little bit about you, because I know I keep asking you, talking about the business, but we're going to talk about you for a minute.
Well, that's a fairly boring subject.
No.
So I don't spend too much time on that.
And so in a couple of weeks, you're going to be recognised with the Beyond Active Award for the Lifetime Achievement Award to the health and fitness industry. Round of applause from the team.
Congratulations.
And so I know I've heard you say that the closer you get to the finish line, the faster you have to run.
Yeah.
And so I can imagine this award is exciting, but it's also about reiterating, I guess, the impact you've had, but the work still to be done.
Yeah, I think
what does
it
that
is
mean
tomorrow.
to you?
I think what we'll probably do at that, well, it's a nice recognition, but it's not a recognition of Geoff Lord. It's a recognition of what Belgravia as a group have done.
Yeah.
And you are the subject experts again. You're the ones that make it happen. I think I am pleased about it, but I'm more about the fact that the company is being built, and then post me, I hope the company will continue to grow, given my kids are involved, and that we continue to build a story. But it's some recognition. Going back to the point you made about running harder, I think you run harder because you've got less time left, and therefore as you get towards the finishing line, you're meant to sprint, not
taper off.
Slow
down,
yeah. And that's what I want to do. So the closer you get to the finishing line, the harder you run. But then my time here is not that much, that long to go. So there's a squillion things I want to get done. So the drive is definitely there. As I jokingly say, I am in the full vigour of youth. So, and I'm driven. I am a driven person. There's no question about it.
You don't need to convince me. I see it.
And that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
So is that ego? In one way it is, yes. Is it the objective of doing good? Yes, it's one way it is, yes. So, but that's what we'll do anyway. We'll run harder as we get closer.
What was it? Sorry.
You go, mate.
What was it that sort of got you into the leisure and fitness space, Geoff? And sort of when did that journey start?
Well, it's a funny story. If you go right back, I mean, as I said, I worked in corporate life and ran a number of very large public companies. But that was about the company more than and the shareholders more than about trying to create something and do some good. So a break in my life came when I was about 40. The company that I was running at that point, which was a company in New Zealand called New Zealand Forest Products, we sold it. And that created a break where I could decide to go with the business or start something of my own. So I went out to start something. So on day one, I got an office. The offices were smaller than this one, and this is pretty small. And so we had an office.
Yeah.
And then I was trying to think about what to call the company. And I'm a pretty knockabout bloke.
Yeah.
I like to think of Jimmy Barnes, a working class man, and that's about all I am, because I don't have a lot of polish or a lot of culture. And so I was thinking about it, and at one stage in my career I worked in Belgravia Square in London.
Yep.
And my job was to buy Courage breweries, and it took 12 months to do, but we got it through and, done and approved and everything. And I thought, well, Belgravia was a classy area, so maybe I should call this company, try to give me a little bit of polish, something like Belgravia. And so then I had an office and a name, Belgravia, and I had sweet fuck all as to what I was going to do. So then I started thinking about tomorrow, and that's where kids started to emerge. Yep. So that theme of trying to do stuff for kids became stronger and stronger in my motivation about leaving something for next generation. So that's what we went about doing. And we actually started, would you believe, in mowing some grass on golf courses.
Yeah, right.
So like a curator.
Yeah.
And then looking after a couple of golf courses, and golf courses are generally owned by local government.
Yeah.
Public courses are generally owned by local government. And today we have 12 golf courses. I think we do about 1 million rounds a year of golf.
Wow.
But it's not even a major part of our business. That's in the leisure group. So then we went from mowing or looking after the curation of golf courses into a concept of, okay, why don't we run the golf courses? And then that led us to say, are there other local government assets that we could run? Yep. And that led us to leisure centres, which is recreation and pools, aquatic. And now we have 300 leisure centres across Australia. And that's been a business that was really the first driver.
Yep.
And then having that business, what do the health clubs need in their equipment? So hence TFG, and then now Novo came along through that history.
Yep.
And we sort of evolved rather than a conscious strategic plan. We evolved over time into more opportunities. But in a way, they're step moves, adding on rather than creating something totally different. So it's been an incremental series of moves, which has now resulted in 1 million kids. And that's what we're trying to do. So now we've got an office. I've still got an office.
Bit bigger than this one, though.
We've got a name. Belgravia's been a good name in hindsight because it's now well known around the place. And for the first time, local governments are starting to come to us.
Yeah.
So we got an office and a name and then a purpose.
Yep.
And the purpose has been the 1 million kids, and that's been a driver.
The purpose really narrows your vision for growth as well, doesn't it? Like keeps you...
Concentrates your vision, not narrows your vision.
Good words,
I'd say that we're concentrated on trying to dominate the sectors that we're in.
Yep.
So we'd like to be number one in the sectors. You're equal number 2 in your sector, fitness equipment, and we want you to be moved to outright number 2 on the way to taking on the leader. So that's what we'll do, and we'll keep driving it. And that's why having a good team is very important. Now, again, I repeat what I said before. You're at an age, Novo people are at an age which has got enough upside in terms of growth in you individually. We've got experience as well, and we've got this stability of a team. And I think those things are leading to you having the success you're having. We want to emulate that in 20 times, in outdoor education, in dance, in cheer, in whatever, clothing. I told you we've set a goal of 200 million in clothing. And that's important to us too, having those goals and reaching out.
Geoff, we have a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs listen, and so what advice would you give? All of that it just seems like you have concentrated and you're controlled and you know what's going on. What advice would you give young entrepreneurs listening to us right now about their mindset? What should they be focusing on?
Well, the first advice I'd give them is probably to switch the podcast off and not listen to this nonsense coming from an elderly man. But I think it's to back yourself, the number one. And it's hard to do because you're at a level where you're frightened to take another step. And the extra step might require financial risk or family risk because you spend that extra time at work instead of with the kids or whatever. That's a bad thing I've done. I spent a lot of time at work. Work's been my priority, and that hasn't helped me spend enough time with the kids. But to back yourself is probably the best thing to do. Now, you're doing that every day. Barry's driving a sales team that's now responsible for 50 billion. He's setting targets. You're driving yourselves to get to another level. But you can't do it without making some commitment. And you can't do it without taking some risk. And that doesn't suit everybody. It suits me. It's suited me. But it may not suit everybody. But I think they're the advice that I would give. You learn from people that you work with. So be broad enough to think about, why am I working here? What am I trying to achieve, and how do I achieve it? And they're fairly important factors in whatever you do in life. But you've got to balance it. As I say, my balance is probably wrong because it's been very work-loaded. You've got to balance family and living and work. But we can do it in a way where we can give you the challenge here and give you enough room and rope to be able to move, to do things. If you stuff it up, you hang yourself on the end of the rope. But if you don't stuff it up, you just keep going further and further, and that's what we want to do. And I think, so I've said backing yourself, but that means taking some risk. But I also think that drive to move to another level, and that's a personal issue, there are factors you need to weigh up in life. But to be entrepreneurial, the word entrepreneur is an interesting word in itself. It really means, not that I could speak French, but really means preneur is the first, and entree is the first to enter a new area, and that does involve some risk.
Yep.
So I think rather than take all of that risk in one bite, it's better to run an incremental pathway that says, here I am today, this is where I want to get to, and these are some steps along the way. And it's surprising that if you don't fall off the path will take you there. It's not really being all that great or doing totally unusual things. It's the pathway. Chairman Mao, who was a good mate of mine, said the first step's the hardest. And it is really in a lot of ways.
So, Geoff, you mentioned there a couple of times like where you start and where you're headed and the growth, and you've been involved in a lot of scaling businesses. What are some of the biggest mistakes you see businesses do as they're scaling?
I haven't thought about that a lot, but overreaching is one. Trying to be too ambitious for the resources you have. But I think also moving away from the main game, so that is stepping off the path that I'm talking about. So you could be decide all of a sudden that we should go into traffic systems, traffic management systems, and that's a completely unrelated business. Whereas I would say that our steps have been incremental, but there's been a theme, and the theme being that overriding kids' activities, and if I went into engineering, it's sort of an unrelated activity to me. I know nothing about engineering, but then I don't know a lot about anything else either, other than trying to build a company. And that's why I say the subject experts are you people, not me. But I think going about it logically and taking digestible bites is better than trying to reach out for the stars in the short term.
So keep it concentrated, but don't be afraid to
back yourself.
Back yourself and maybe move a little out of the slipstream, but it's got to be related to what you're doing.
And you're seeing it. You've been here now. How long have you been here now?
4 years.
4 years, and you've seen the changes that we've brought about. And it's a much better business here today than it was then. And again, it's a very stable team.
What do you, and when we're a few in, I'm not sure what time we're at, H, but we'll keep going because we've got a great man.
You can cut back. No, you can cut it back whenever you want.
What do you look for in a partner or a leader that you want to invest? Like what are the kind of the key non-negotiables for you that you're like, those are the things that I need to see before I'm going to invest in that partner or that leader or that business?
These questions are sort of without premeditation in a way, but so my answers are off the cuff. But I think it is that it fits, that it's a fit, not breaking totally new ground. So the first thing we'd look at is what is the fit of that business with us. The second thing would be, is it taking us to a more dominant position in the sector that we're in? So, and then the third become the financial, but probably before the financial, the third would be the people that are there, and are they people that we would like to have in our group. Fourth is probably financial, and that's going through the basically the process of making sure that the business can generate cash. So, my simple definition of a successful business is one that has more cash coming in than going out. When you have more cash, when you have cash going out at a faster rate than coming in, I think there are red lights going off everywhere. But that's so, and that's one reason why I look at cash all the time ahead of profit even, that it's about generating the cash from selling and having more incoming revenue than outgoing revenue.
Awesome. Thank you. I've got a fast five for you, so quick fire round. You can pass on any of these if you like.
Pass.
Next. So short, high energy questions, and you can keep them within a 25-minute. We've got plenty of time.
Yeah, okay. The first one's Hawthorn.
The Hawks, they go all right next year. Biggest leadership mistake you've made, besides jumping on this podcast?
In my own mind, it may not be relevant to listeners, but in my own mind, I spent a lot of time with a bloke called John Elliott at Elders, and I did quite well there and ran a lot of the businesses and became, in a sense, chief executive. But I created a new arm called Resources, and I called it Elders Resources, but I should have called it Novo Resources. I made a mistake by being seen to be just part of the group as opposed to building something, a new entity. And that's probably the biggest mistake in business that I've made, not branding it as something new.
Thank you. Best advice ever given to you?
That's an interesting question. I think it's probably not to try to be too big, not to be fairly humble about things and take it in your stride, rather than reaching for the moon in one hit. So to do it in an evolutionary way rather than a revolutionary way. I will mention one other if I can.
Please do.
I did go to business school, and the only thing I ever remember, because I used to spend a lot of time in the pub in those days.
Just working the sales magic.
Yeah, was the difference between efficient and effective. Efficient is doing things right, so being good at what you do, and effective is doing the right things. So efficient, doing things right, effective, doing the right things. So I could go out and start up a horse and buggy business today, building buggies, and I reckon I could build the best buggy in the world. But who wants it? So that's not what I call efficient. So I have to keep reminding myself it's not just about running what we do well, it's about thinking about whether the things we do are relevant.
I like that one.
That's great.
The trait you value most in people?
I think that's a no-brainer, honesty. I mean, openness and honesty. Yep. I think with me, if I'm uncomfortable with somebody because I believe they're probably withholding something, then that definitely puts me off.
Yep. I
think it is being open and honest.
Thank you. What do you want your legacy to be?
I think I told you the story. Somebody, a simple thing, but somebody gave me a pen, and it was actually inscribed, and it said, on one side it said Geoff Lord, and on the other side, a builder. And I'm happy to, my legacy, if I had one, would be to say he built something.
Yep.
I think that's what I'd like to do.
Well, thanks for the insights. So probably just summary, back yourself, incrementally grow and build, don't overreach for the stars. Always consider effectiveness and efficiency when you're making those decisions. Anything else? What did you pick out of that, Jaron?
I think the focused vision of everything being in line with the million kids, like it gives you that focus and helps keep you on track with what everything works together. Like you say, all the services sort of work with the business towards the one goal. I think some of these things are probably post-decision rationalisation. Didn't know I was doing that, and then you justify it afterwards. But no, it's been a great trip, and again, the most important thing is that you are the subject experts, and I couldn't have built the business without having people who are good at their particular trades. And that's been greatly appreciated with the staff that we have.
Well, thank you very much, Geoff. Congrats on the Lifetime Achievement Award. Thanks for jumping on the Mate Spot Me podcast. We are going to thoroughly enjoy getting this one out there, and look forward to the work ahead.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for your support.
That's the wrap.
Beauty.
Thanks, Geoff.
Thanks, Geoff.